Well, stats folk, this is a monumental occasion because we've reached account level 3 here, which means we've unlocked random battles, and random battles allows you to play against other players because what we've been doing so far is co-op battles. So before we do that, we're going to buy or research and then buy our first ship. So if you cast your mind back, looking at the Eyrie here, I've played a few battles, and I've played I think 1 or 2 battles without you, and you'll notice that I've accumulated 403 experience on this ship. So this is the experience which is unique to this ship or dedicated to this ship. So this is what you get from playing the individual ships. So we played the Hashidati a little bit and got 181 there. That's not quite enough to research the Chikuma. We researched and purchased this module here. Some of the other ships we haven't played the Orland, so there's 0 on this side here, and then also if you come over to the right hand side over here in the captain's, what will be the captain's profile picture here, you can also see the same figure. If I go through some of the other ships, you can see they're all 0, but we've played the Eyrie a fair bit and we've accumulated 403 XP on that ship. We've researched and purchased this module here. But now, if you look here, Chester 350, 403, which means we can research and then potentially purchase the Chester. Now, how much money do we have? Well, in credits, we have 1,000,000 credits, and the Chester costs, if I hover over here, it will tell me, it costs 69,300, so we have more than enough credits to buy the Chester, because you get some credits for going up the account levels. So at some point we have got 1,000,000 credits, so we're fine. We're in the black. You can also see there, if I hover over, it tells you, just gives you a little clue as to what improves with the ship compared to this one. So the Chester compared to the Eyrie, the tier 2, the Chester has better hit points, so better survivability. The guns are better, has less AA, and at least on the first hull. It has better maneuverability and it has slightly better concealment. So let's click on that there then. So this is the Chester. We haven't bought it yet. You'll notice that the background goes kind of monochrome to show that we haven't bought it. And I have this button here to say research. So let's do that now. Research. Do you want to research ship for 350? So this is going to be deducted from the XP that we have on the Eyrie. So I say yes. And then when you do that, the previous ship, because it's had all of its modules researched, and you've researched the ship that comes after it, it acquires elite status. And elite status is given to ships with all available modules and technical branches researched. XP earned on elite ships can be converted to free XP, and we'll cover that later when we unlock free XP in a few account levels time. So I haven't actually bought it yet, so this still isn't actually in my port. If I change down here to a compact view, so you can see these are all my ships. So you can see that the Chester is not here. You could also tell that by going to the tech tree, going to USA, and then you can see there's a tick, which means that I own the Eyrie. I do not own the Chester. So Chester purchased for 69,300. Also, if we go back to the Eyrie, you'll see now that the XP on the Eyrie has been deducted by 300, has been debited by 350 XP, because that's what we've just spent. If I continue playing the Eyrie will continue to accumulate XP, which I can then use later. I can convert that into free XP if I really want to, using real world money via doubloons. I can convert that into free XP that I can use elsewhere, but again, we'll cover that when we get to free XP in a few episodes' time. So back to the Chester. I'm going to purchase the Chester. Now, let's just say no for a second. Vacant slots. I have 4 vacant ship slots. You have to keep an eye on this figure, because if you run out, you have to purchase extra slots, and extra slots cost you 300 doubloons. But quite often, you'll get these for free. You'll get them out of crates. So I don't think I've ever had to buy an extra slot, but it's just worth realizing that you may have to do that. So purchase, that's what this is. With slot, it's going to cost me 300 doubloons, which I don't have. Without slot, it's fine. That's just going to use one of those 4 that I have. So yes, purchase. And there she is, the Chester. Okay, so if I look in the tech tree here, the Chester is the first chance we have to move into a different line. Now I've chosen the Americans because they have all the lines. So they have the aircraft carriers, and actually by the time you watch this line might look slightly different, but don't worry about that. The battleships are there off of the cruisers here at tier 3. The destroyers here are available via the Chester at tier 2. And then there's also a split in the cruiser line later on at tier 6 here. And there's also some premiums as well. So you'll notice here the Chester leads to the St. Louis, which is the tier 3 cruiser, but it also leads to the tier 2 Samson destroyer. So if I go back to modules, you'll notice here, if I try and get it onto a bit of sky so you can see, here these arrows, so this one points to the tier 3 cruiser, this arrow points to the tier 2 destroyer, which means that if you follow these arrows, I have to research the gunfire control system upgrade or module to be able to get to the destroyer line, or I can go down the hull route into the guns and then down to the cruiser. And these all cost XP, which I have to earn on by playing this ship. And then when I research one of these, so let's say I did the destroyer first, and I've got this and I've got this, and when I spend 720 on here, this gets deducted, which means I have to keep playing the Chester in order to earn even more XP in order to get the other line unlocked. So where you get the lines that split from a ship, you're going to have to play this ship where the split starts a bit more than you would do normally, because you have to research 2 lines, not just 1. Hopefully that is clear. So obviously, because we haven't played it yet, we start with 0 XP. First thing to do at this account level, later on you'll be able to do some other things, but just for now all you have to worry about, because you don't have a commander yet and we don't have any upgrades, so all you have to worry about is switch this over to the premium damage control party, which you do want to purchase. You've got plenty of credits, and then enable this. So auto purchase enabled. If the consumables aren't available, they will be resupplied using in-game currency, which is fine because it's credits. You want to make sure that those things aren't enabled for things which cost doubloons, but we don't have anything that's like that yet. So if things cross credits, that's fine. So resupply using in-game currency is fine. Okay. And pretty much that's all we need to worry about, because we don't have anything to do yet. We need to get XP to unlock these. We can have a look at the stats here. So it has 15,000 hit points. The Erie only had 4,950, so it's considerably more. The Chester has a bit more armor. Actually has a little small armor belt down here. Artillery, it has 427mm guns. We can go and have a look at them with the camera here. One there, one on each side, one on the aft. There's the other one on the other side. And then it also has secondaries. It has 4 76mm secondaries, which are down here in the hull. One there. And one at the front, and on the same on the other side. The range is 9.2 compared to the Erie's 9.6. It's actually got worse range, but we're going to be able to increase that with the gunfire control system upgrade here, or module here. Speed 24 knots, turning circle 460, rudder shift 5.1. So you can see it's a little bit faster. Turning circle's a little bit bigger because it's a bigger ship. And then the concealment 8.5, so it's just going to be a slightly bigger ship. What's the fire rate? Don't forget, if you mouse over these you get some more information. Fire rate is 8 seconds, So we're not going to be pumping out the shells at a massive rate, but it's going to be reasonable, and a 4% fire chance. And actually the shell velocity is quite high as well. So if you see shell velocities in the 900s, that's pretty high. 700s would be very slow. I don't think there's anything in the game that has over 1,000, but 900s is very fast. And so the trajectories of those shells will tend to be quite flat. Okay, so the exciting part now is we can go ahead and switch here. So we're going to go up to the top and we're going to press co-op battle, and we're going to go over to random battles, and this is where you're fighting real human players, and this is what most players spend most of their time doing. There are some players who only play co-op battles. I use co-op battles, for example, to complete missions easily. There are some times where you would like to do that. Most of the time you're going to be playing random battles, and you can see here there are, on the NA server at the moment, there are 12,000 or 12,500 players online, so plenty to choose from. One thing, if you cast your mind back to the last video, to remember is that this is a tier 2 ship, and tier 2 is bracketed with tier 3, so it's highly likely that we're going to be bottom tier here against tier 3 ships. It's possible the match will be all tier 2, but it's highly likely that there'll be tier 2 and tier 3. So we shouldn't expect to come top of the table as a bottom tier cruiser, but certainly you should be trying to aim not to come bottom of the table for your team. But I would say just don't worry about it, just get on with it, press battle, and just see what happens. So this is the queue. This tells you how many are what type of ship. Don't forget, at the moment you'll still have protective matchmaking because you are a new player. It's matched us up. Oh, okay, it's an entirely tier 2 match. That may be something to do with the protective matchmaking, and actually I've just noticed this is mostly AI. You'll notice the double colons, these are all AI, but there are a few players in here. And players play very differently to AI. The AI tend to just charge forward almost suicidally, whereas players will actually look like they have a brain, or most of them will look like they have a brain behind them. So you have to treat them with a little bit more caution and assume that they're going to react to you. Now, in a cruiser, against other cruisers, the main thing you want to worry about is hitting the other cruisers and actually shooting them. Because ultimately, in a fight, if you don't throw any punches, you can't land any punches. But you also want to worry about angling. I wouldn't worry too much about map positioning, but you just want to worry about not giving things your flat broadside. So if these were enemy ships here, this would be bad positioning because they can all shoot my broadside. I want to make sure that the enemies are kind of in this arc here. You need to balance that against your guns. So if I point my guns right forwards, you'll notice that only my front gun can shoot. If you look down here in the bottom left, you've got the green. If I move my mouse slightly to the right, you can see that 2 can shoot. So I want to try and aim my ship so that I can use 2 or even 3. You can see the back gun has an angle there as well, so I can actually shoot 3 of my turrets that way. So let's go for the Strozhevoy over there. Slightly down because he's coming towards me. Missed him. Okay, he's gone behind the rocks, so we're going to have to go for this Strozhevoy over here. I'm constantly looking at the minimap. My eyes are flicking back and forth. This is also an AI. I would say don't worry too much about which ammo type you have. Oh, he's going to ram. Great. The AI tend to do this quite a lot. And we can actually use the smoke here, so I'm going to stop in the smoke because the smoke has 38 seconds left. Now that cruiser is giving me his broadside, so I'm going to double tap 2 to change over to AP, armor piercing rounds, because against a broadside cruiser we should be able to do some decent damage. Aiming at the waterline. He's going directly sideways, so no need to aim up or down. The dispersion on these shells is not particularly good, but persevere. Double tapping to fire all the guns. He's slowing down. God, the dispersion on these guns is awful. Now I need to start moving because I'm giving him my complete broadside. So I need to move forward and turn in. He's stopped, so let's... Tell you what, the dispersion on these guns is absolutely shocking. Oh man. That's not me misaiming, that's just the guns not being very accurate. There we go, finally hit him. Might switch to one of these destroyers in a second. And torps, that's fine. So I'm looking at those torps, looking where they're going, making sure they're not going to hit me. Keeping an eye on the minimap. Okay, let's queue up HE. So I've just tapped number 1 once. Now this Umikaze here is a real player. So by pressing 1 once, then I managed to change my ammo type between shots. So if you... Actually, I could shoot that Novik. I would quite like to get the Umikaze. Now, I need to be careful he doesn't torpedo me. I'll come back to the ammo changing in a second. I need to be careful this guy doesn't... There we go. He's probably going to try and torp me. So I have to assume, because he's a destroyer, that there are torpedoes coming this way. So I'm turning away. To make sure I can avoid them easily. He may not have got them away, but you have to assume with a destroyer. There we go, I've got a fire on him. So you can see he's burning there. Ah, he's behind the rock. I don't think he launched his torpedoes. But the fire, hopefully... Oh, I didn't get the kill with the fire, but he got away. Anyway, if you want to change ammo types between shots without wasting a shot, if you just tap once, so watch at the bottom, press 2 once, it pre-queues that change, and so if I fire, then it loads the other ammo type. The other way of doing it is to double tap, so 1, double tap, that's 1, 1, and that stops whatever it was doing previously, and then starts loading the other ammo type. Can I? Oh, I can. Oh, he started moving forward. Oh, that was a terrible shot. It's quite difficult to hit destroyers because they're quite small. Oh no, torpedoes. Brake, brake, left, left, left. Oof, nice. So as soon as you see that torpedo warning, you need to make sure you zoom out and see what's going on. Don't just assume that the torpedoes aren't coming towards you, because they probably are. Okay, we are losing. And that's a nearly full health battle. Oh no, it's a core. Okay. Kid, see if we can get this destroyer. Oh, the guns on this ship are awful. They have a lot of vertical dispersion. Hopefully this will get him. Nope. These guns are truly awful. If you are playing the Chester and you are missing, don't worry about it. It's not you, necessarily. There we go, got a kill. Notice that the Dresden is focusing on the Novik, so I am also shooting the Novik because A, he's got the lowest health out of those three, and B, if the Dresden and I both shoot him, we're more likely to kill him. And the main thing you want to do in this game is take enemy guns out of the game. Because a ship on 1 hit point can do as much damage as a ship on full hit points. So you notice I'm not using AP here because he's angled. So my AP is very likely to bounce off him. He just damage controlled that fire immediately. So if I get another fire on him, it will burn. I probably won't have to, because I can probably kill him. Oh, and it's just me left. Unfortunately. So he is not broadsiding me, so I'm going to try switching to AP after this. So I've still got quite a lot of health, so I think we're okay. Just need to make sure that I stay angled here. I'm actually going to push in a bit, make my shots a bit easier. Some of those shells coming towards me are secondaries. So what I've just done there is I've just used control to get my cursor up and I've just clicked on him to focus my secondaries on him. I don't have many secondaries, but I do have some. Going annoyingly slowly, these guys. So I'm going to turn away now, which is a little bit risky. But I want to be able to focus on this one guy without this other guy being able to kill me. Now, I'm on fire. And this doesn't have a heal. So I probably do want to put it out, but I'm just going to wait. See whether I kill this guy. I am broadsiding a little bit too much there. The Novik is chasing me. That's skid. Another fire. I'm going to put that fire out because I have not a lot of health. Now, he's got a lot more health than I do, so it's going to be tricky. Especially if he sets me on fire again. AP is probably going to bounce. Oh no, there we go. That's fine. Now, I auto-queued HE there, so I'm going to change back again after this HE round. So, he's going to give me his broadside. I'm not going to give him my broadside. I don't want him to get too far away from me, so I'm going to slow down a little bit. I need to risk bringing that extra gun around. Just watching his angle. Okay, I think I need to start chasing him. queue up HE because he's turning nose in. I've got very low health here, so if he gets a fire on me, I'm going to have to damage con immediately. Okay, he's gone broadside again, so I'm going to change back to AP. And he's got nose in again, so I'm going to go back to HE. I might just stick to HE, actually. Getting quite good damage earlier. Focus my secondaries on him because he's getting close. It's looking good. And we win. So I know that was a bot, but by proper angling and by proper use of different ammo types, you can beat a lower health ship, albeit an AI one. And that sound in the background just told me that we've actually reached the next account level as well. So we'll see that in just a second. So there we go, 4 kills. And this was essentially a co-op game, but there were a few players in there, and these will all be new players. So slightly unfair for them because obviously I'm a more experienced player and I shouldn't really be in this matchmaking, but for the purposes of making these videos I have to be. So I'm very sorry, Bath Boy and Machtwolf. I hope that you have a good career. Tabbing through these, we can see the damage I did to different ships and the economics report. And we've looked through this before, so I won't dwell on this. But see here, we've got a new level. At the moment, this is counted in XP. Very soon, it will be counted in games. So if you see number of games here instead of XP, don't be confused by that because it is changing. There we go, count level 4. There we go. Join me next time for a much shorter video as we go through level 4 and containers.